This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast about the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're talking with the fastest men's 200-yard medley relay team in NCAA Division III history. And yes, they are Bates Bobcats. Plus, the women's basketball team pulled off a comeback for the ages in their NESCAC quarterfinal, and the men's basketball team prevailed on the road, with both teams moving on to their respective semifinals. And oh, by the way, spring sports are in full swing. We've got it all covered coming up on the Bates Bobcast. Men's swimming senior captain and male Bobcat of the week, Marrich Somridhivej, is the NESCAC Swimmer of the Year, and his fellow senior captain, Max Corey, earned the NESCAC's Men's Career High Point Scorer Award after a conference championships that saw the Bobcats win 9 events and turn in 13 all-NESCAC performances overall. Junior Tim Johnson, Somridhivej, sophomore Nate Oppenheim, and Corey turned in the most memorable race this past weekend as they teamed up to set a new NCAA Division III record in the 200-yard medley relay. The time to beat is now 1 minute, 25.57 seconds. Well, we got 3/4 of the record-setting 200-yard medley relay team with us, the NCAA record-setting group here. We've got the backstroker, of course, Tim Johnson, breaststroke, Marrich Somridhivej, butterfly, Nate Oppenheim, Max Corey, freestyle, feeling a little under the weather, so we're going to talk about him a little bit also. But, Tim, let's start with you. You lead off this race, right? NCAA Division III record for the team. I was talking a little bit with Nate off air. He said after the 400 medley, the guys thought you had a chance at the national record. What's kind of your mentality, though, going into that 200 medley there, leading things off?
I thought the 4-med would be our favorited event to break a national record. So when we didn't break the night before, I thought, maybe we have a shot at the 2-med, but probably not. It's gonna be something we can get at nationals. And then when we let off going at best time 22.4, I was like, okay. And then I saw March. I got out of the water. I turned up at the board. I turned around, and March was already coming home. He was already finishing. So I was like, okay, we could definitely break this record right now. March was half a body length or 2 body lengths in front of the next best guy. And I mean, I probably both in the 4-med and the 2-med, I started celebrating the win during March's leg of the relay. It's
Which is the second leg, for those who don't know, yeah. Well, I mean, Morris, what was your perspective from that race? I mean, doing that second leg, really creating a lot of separation, right?
Yeah, as soon as I saw Tim coming home in first place, I knew the race was over. Before the race, we just talked about, how we just needed to execute a really clean race. And, we're not really racing against anyone else. It's just ourselves, and that's exactly what we did.
And Nate, you're the young guy in this group, sophomore. So what's it like to be part of a national record in your second year as a college swimmer?
It's definitely something special. I don't know if I'd ever imagined that this would be where I was right now, but it's amazing to see the talent that we have right now. It's something that is so special, and I think that we've got even a little bit further to go.
And we talk about Max. He's your fellow senior captain. I mean, tell us a little bit about how you and him have kept this team focused on, your goals. I mean, to win 4 relay titles at NESCAC is something obviously Bates has never done. I mean, that was, I imagine, the goal at the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about accomplishing this for many, many years and working hard towards it. I think our freshman year, we were just praying to get a relay in the top 3. At NESCAC, and now we're winning 4 out of 5.
Now, obviously, NCAAs are up next. Tim, I mean, the potential here is remarkable, right? I mean, NESCAC is really good swimming. I'm sure there's great relays in other conferences. I'm sure you're looking at all the numbers out there. What's the potential here for nationals coming up?
It's going to be different from the last couple of years going to nationals. I feel like we usually go into nationals as somewhat of an underdog, and that's not the case this year. Especially from last year, having a top 3 finish in the relay, having Max break the national record, and then going into nationals this year with almost a national record in the 4 medley and the national record in the 2 medley, it's like the spotlight's going to be on us. It's going to be to perform. And I'm really excited for that because, I mean, you don't get the opportunity to go and break national records at the national meet like every day. Like this was a big deal, and it's going to be a lot of fun and quite the showing for us. And I'm excited to see what we can do because I think we definitely still have more in the tank.
Well, speaking of national records, Marrich, the 50-yard breaststroke is obviously not an NCAA event, which is unfortunate. But you had the fastest time ever in that in terms of anyone in NCAA Division III. Mostly the NESCAC competes in it, but I know technically you can open with a 50-yard of a 100-yard. It doesn't matter. You had the fastest time. What was it like to compete in that race and to take home that title and to set that mark for you?
Yeah, so the 50 breast, it's a really fun event it's probably my favorite event that I've swam. But over the past 2 years, I've had a lot of trouble improving in the race. So I just really focused this year on controlling my strength, and it paid off. I thought a lot about it this year. So, yeah, I'm proud of myself for that.
Coach told me, I was asking him, like, by the end of the meet, you were pretty tired.
Yep. Yesterday was not pretty.
Yesterday was a tough day. Tell us about the short turnaround you guys had to deal with. I mean.
Yeah, so there was a snowstorm coming up, and some of the other teams had to get home a little early. I mean, obviously safety is priority, and things weren't really in our control about like how the meet schedule was going to run. But you just got to work with what you're given, and you got to keep the belief going. You got to stay confident, stay ready, stay sharp. And I think we did a really good job. We've got this guy right here, Tim, winning the 2 bag.
Yes.
We had Liam swim an amazing 2 fly. He's going to nationals with us. We got Nate A filing in the 2 breast. We had some great swims overall. We also got another relay victory that night. So, I mean, when times were tough, we got the job done.
Tim, I believe that's your first individual NESCAC title?
Yeah.
So take us through that race. And, I mean, were you hoping, I don't think you had the fastest time in the prelims, right? And you were... Or did you?
No, I did not have the fastest time in the 2 back at prelims. And I kind of learned from the day before going in the 100 back. I was seed first going into prelims. Unfortunately, didn't have the best race at finals. Got second, which in previous years it would have been awesome.
Right.
Now
Expectations.
We're doing some different things different now this year.
Yeah.
So in that prelims session, I dialed it back a little more. Swam a safe race, just qualify, get top 8. I loved that I wasn't first seed, just get the spotlight off me for a little bit, focus on this guy in lane 4, not me, and then able to swim a good race. And the race was fun. It was a 2-man race from like the 50 or the 100. I knew it was gonna be me and this guy from Williams, and I tried to swim it smart, and it was fun to finally get to see my name first on the board. It was a lot of relief after the night before. But yeah, fun race.
Excellent. I mean, Nate, as a sophomore, your second time at NESCAC, obviously last year was a big year also for the Bobcats. How did this maybe compare your second time around going to this championship meet?
First and foremost, it's faster. It is so much faster. I improved my time in finals over my 200 breaststroke this year to last year, and I got 3rd last year, and I got 8th this year, going faster.
Okay.
We've got a lot of fast swimming coming into the NESCAC, and I think that's really exciting because, it's given me people to chase after, giving me people to look for. I made an event switch this year compared to last year from the 4 IM into the 100 fly, which I think was a change that was good and helped both our points scored and our relay. But I think, right now we're looking towards the rest of the NCAA, and I think we can do big things, not just in these relays, but I think we have got some really good shot at some high individual placements from everybody who's going.
You mentioned the 100 fly. That was you and Max in the same race, right?
It was, yes.
Okay, yeah. And I noticed Max had not swum that race all year. He had no seed time, and he goes out and breaks his own record in the prelims. I mean,
from he won.
Yeah. So tell us a little about racing alongside Max there.
It kind of makes me mad. No, I have a lot of love. I have a lot of love for Max, and I love competing against him.
Yeah.
He is a specimen in these sprint races, and it's a lot of fun to swim against him. I kind of knew I had him when it was close at the 75 in that finals, but I'm still definitely chasing after that record. So got a few more years to do it, and I think I'm in a good spot for it.
Yeah, because you beat him in the final, right?
I did, yes.
But he lowered the standard overall, kind of.
In the prelims, yes.
Yeah. And was that kind of the plan to have him in that 100 fly just to score some more points for the team, kind of?
Yeah, I don't know what he really thought he was going to do in that 100 fly. I think he kind of had a very light, whatever happens mindset going into that prelims, and he was in the first heat, a lot of clean water around him, not many waves, and he swam a great swim. So yeah, super proud of him for that beast of a swim.
Great. And then Marrich, as one of the captains, tell me a little bit about, overall kind of, what you saw from this team. Because obviously, we have the top level NESCAC champions, but we also had, as you mentioned before, a lot of other really strong performances, right?
Yeah. I saw great energy, a lot of great fight from everyone on the team, from all the way from like our sprinters to our distance swimmers. A lot of great best times. I think it was like 65 or 70% of our team, of our swims, were best times. So it's great to see. We're definitely moving in the right direction. We won 4 NESCAC relays this year. Last year we only won 2.
Only 2.
So
the first 2 ever.
Maybe we'll win 5 next year.
Right.
And if they add the 6th one in, like a 2x or a 4x25 relay, a 100 freestyle relay, we're probably going to win that one too. So, the team is moving in a great direction, and obviously the goal at Nationals this year is to win some relays and place top 10, and I think we're in a great spot to achieve those goals. We've got a lot of confidence going into it, and we definitely have the talent.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Tim, between now and Nationals, what's kind of the focus? How do you prepare?
Well, we're taking this day off.
Yeah, I hope
maybe
so.
Tomorrow off. And then we'll probably start ramping it back up, doing some more yardage, get some more yardage in before we then taper off again, getting ready for Nationals. Got to be rested for that. And just trying to get as fast as possible to hold my weight on this relay. I got 2 of the fastest swimmers in like NCAA history on my relay, so I gotta make this matter, make this count. Having Max and Marrich, 2 of the fastest splits ever in D3 history on the relay, like you have to make the most of it and go make sure that you're going into Nationals as fast as you can.
I was going to say, because Marrich, cause I was looking up the 100 breaststroke record. I guess that's some Olympian who did that. So that might be a little more tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even close. I'm a whole second behind him. It's not even close. So it's just ridiculous how quick D3 is these days.
It's amazing that guy doesn't have the 50 then, and it must really just close really fast or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, the 50 record, the old 50 record was his going out split in that race.
Right.
So, I mean, if I can
You're halfway there.
go out that fast, same speed, and come home as fast as he did, then I'll break the record. It sounds a lot easier.
You got the record.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to say than to do.
Certainly. Well, I guess I'd love to get each of your kind of final thoughts on NESCAC. Anything else you wanted to mention about this achievement for the team to win 4 relays and then also 5 individual events? Anything else each of you wanted to say? We can start with you, Nate.
Yeah, this is my first time breaking a national record, so I don't know how it normally feels, but I'm sure that a lot of people, when they have these achievements, it feels like a huge pinnacle. But I really am reflecting on our medley relays especially, and we have places to get faster. I strongly believe that. I mean, we had Tim go half second faster in your 100 backstroke than you did in the relay. Marrich, you went your relay split basically in the individual 100. I've got tons more to give in that 100 fly. I really think that these records can just be decimated again. I think we've got like much more room to improve, tighten up our relay starts, just tons of different things.
Great, Tim. How about for you?
Yeah. Overall, just like super impressed with the team. Everyone from whether you're in the A final to the C final, everyone performed their heart out here. But I have to reiterate what Nate said. There was this weird feeling after going 4 to 5 with the relays that there's still like job the job wasn't finished and that we still had more in the tank and we had more left. And that's a very strange feeling to break a national record and still feel like we got more to give. But we do. We still have an opportunity to get a relay to win at the NCAA meet, which is just insane. Something I never really even thought of coming into Bates my freshman year, but now it seems like something that is totally possible if we can just finish the job and swim well, and then even get some like high individual places. It's a big deal going to NCAAs right now, and it's an exciting place to be.
March, how about for you?
Yeah, I totally agree with what these guys have said so far. One thing we haven't talked about is our 400 medley relay is only, I believe, less than a tenth of a second away from the national record.
Yeah.
And we definitely could have done it at NESCACs. You know, we just can't always be breaking national records. we gotta let.
We have to pace ourselves.
Yeah, we gotta pace ourselves. We gotta be patient. But when I saw Tim coming home on the 100 back on that 400 medley relay, like 2 or 3 body lengths ahead of everyone, I really knew, like, my first thought was Tim's about to go 47. My second thought was I really don't need to push this relay stuff. Like, I don't need to get this relay DQ'd. So, you know, it's going to be a lot faster at nationals, and we're definitely going to break that record for sure. So a lot more to come from us.
Yeah, it is a balancing act on those relays when you're not the leadoff person, because you want to jump in, but you don't want to do it too quickly. I mean, what's the standard there? When can you go? I'm just curious because I don't really. I'm like, it looks early, but it's not, I guess.
So our 400 medley relay last year, every single exchange was under 0.1.
Yeah.
So, and the transition from my leg to Max's, the fly to free, was actually negative. But looking back at the camera footage, they didn't disqualify us because there was one frame of the camera footage where his toe was still on the blocks and my fingers were touching the touchpads, and it hadn't registered yet.
Okay.
So maybe that's not what we're shooting for, but the goal is probably somewhere in that 0.1 range where you're trying to go as fast as you possibly can without obviously disqualifying the relay.
I think the threshold is negative 0.02 on the electronic timing system, and that is what I'm going for every single race.
Across all divisions, we have the national record in relay starts right now with like a 0.00 average. It's crazy.
It's a matter of milliseconds. It's wild. So, well, thanks, guys. I mean, congratulations again. A great achievement, obviously. NCAA Division III record, 200 medley relay. More to come. NCAA is coming up later in March. Somridhivej, Tim Johnson, Nate Oppenheim. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Head coach Peter Casares and assistants Boomer Druzniak and Ellen Varley were voted the NESCAC Men's Coaching Staff of the Year by their peers. And Casares gives us more insight on this remarkable season for the Bobcats. Well, Coach, there's almost an overwhelming number of things we could talk about considering how much success the men's swimming and diving team had over the weekend. But let's start with setting an NCAA Division III record in the 200 medley relay. I mean, they're talking to the guys there saying after the 400 medley, we thought we had a chance in the 200 to do it. What were your thoughts on that? And that time just really stands out. I mean, they just smashed everyone, basically.
It was a moment that I did not really prepare for. I kept it out of my mind personally. I was shocked with their 400 medley the previous night. I knew they would be fast. I wasn't thinking sub 310. And then to hear that we missed the national record by less than a tenth of a second was, jaw-dropping for me. And so, I just let it be, and I let them take control and drive the car, and they took advantage of the moment. And Tim Johnson had his lifetime best 50 leadoff leg, and when Marrich dove in, all of a sudden we had clean water, and the splits that popped up were just jaw-dropping and caused gasps from the entire natatorium as they went one at a time to extend that lead. And when they touched 0.3 faster than the national record, I was overcome with emotions, to be honest with you. I didn't realize it was coming, but it was a moment, and it was really great to be on the deck with so many great colleagues, see the parents in the stands, have the whole team there to watch it, and even share it with Vanessa at Wesleyan, since she was here when they were all freshmen. The senior class was freshmen, so it was special. And I told the team and the parents that night how lucky and grateful I feel to have spent that moment with everybody on the team, as opposed to off in Indianapolis with 4 or 5 guys doing it out by ourselves in the Midwest. But to have the whole team there to experience it and revel in that moment was truly just a culminating moment for the program, without a doubt.
And, 2 years ago, the NESCAC championships, the men's swimming team had never won a relay. Now they won 2 last year, and they won 4 more this year, and really in dominating fashion, right? I mean, that just speaks to the growth of this program, and especially, some of these guys like Marrich and Max and what they mean as seniors, right?
The medley relays were very dominating. I mean, to just say the words out loud, like no other team in the entire country has a record faster than ours, is outstanding. I think in all divisions right now, it's the 50th fastest time in the country. It's just crazy. And yeah, last year I told them, you're crazy to think anyone's going to let little old Bates win a NESCAC title in a relay. There's too many people out there that will not, let that happen. And they broke through in the freestyle relays and really did amazing things there. And then this year we squeaked out a much deeper freestyle relay conference with some wins in both of those, the 200 and the 400, and then dominated the medleys. And it's just, I wouldn't have thought we would be here 3 years ago, but with this group of guys and the work that they put in and the dedication to each other and the program and to Bates College, it doesn't surprise me, and I give them all the credit in the world. They really made it happen.
Well, and by the time this podcast comes out, it will be public. NESCAC Men's Coaching Staff of the Year, congratulations, you, Boomer, and Ellen. Tell me a little bit about, Boomer in his second year, Ellen in her first year, the impact they've made to help, win this award.
Yeah, Boomer is an administrative genius. He also helps with the distance group this year and all of our 400 IMers, and he just took a group and ran with it and really allowed Ellen and I to work with the sprinters and mid-distance group. And it was just a great working relationship. He was outstanding and positive all year long, really making a difference for many on the team. And then Ellen is new this year, but she brought such joy and professionalism, but also a sense of calm. Like nothing ever rattles Ellen. If we have something that pops up at the last minute and need to pivot, she's just there. I've got it, you bet. If anybody had any nerves or any anxiousness behind the blocks or on the pool deck, Ellen was just a force of serenity, of confidence, of belief, and I just saw so many of our athletes going up to her over and over again and learning from someone that had just gone through it themselves and understood it at a high level for someone so young. So the two of them just added so much to the staff this year and really allowed us to do more mentoring, do more planning, do more preparing to make sure the athletes got the practices they need and the training they need and the confidence they needed. And it was really a group effort. It was phenomenal.
We have our first ever NESCAC Men's Swimmer of the Year award winner, Marrich Somridhivej, senior captain. We've talked about this before, but he was not even a recruit. He was. He said, "Hey, I'm coming to Bates. I want to be on the swim team." It's got to be rare to someone who's not even a recruit to go from that to being the conference's entire swimmer. The entire conference's Swimmer of the Year, right?
He's such a phenomenal story. I mean, he came into the office after he got admitted through regular decision in the spring of that year and then said he was interested in swimming and kind of gave me his background. And I was like, you know what, without a doubt, we'd love to have another guy join us that's willing to work hard and wants to make other people better. And he was all about it, and he came in and he was very humble and he worked really hard to adjust to what collegiate swimming was. And the trajectory is just phenomenal, and you could never have guessed this or predicted it. But as we saw it unfolding, I think we knew quite early on in his career that he had some special sprinting speed, but he wasn't content with that. I mean, it was solely a 50 breaststroke that he went to nationals with his freshman year, and he'll tell you he got brought along by all the other fast guys on the relays. But he enjoyed that experience, wanted more, and did whatever it took the next couple of years to make it happen, and has just handled things phenomenally. I mean, right now he has the 28th fastest time in the whole entire country, all divisions. He would have been on several Division I relays that are nationally going to the Division I finals. It's just phenomenal to have someone experience such success and then also give such belief to everybody else on the team and also be such a great teammate and captain.
And then Max Corey winning the high point scorer for his career award. That one, obviously, it's very obvious who scores the most points throughout their entire career in NESCAC men's swimming at the NESCAC championships. Max did it. An example of that would be 100 butterfly. He had no seat time.
Yes.
Goes in prelims, sets a new school record. Why not? And then places in the final and fifth. I mean, tell us about Max and his ability to just kind of jump in and score more points in an event that he hadn't even competed in for a while.
Wait, so he won the high point award for all seniors?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's phenomenal. I mean, I cannot. I am a little bit upset that those boys didn't get that moment in front of the entire conference.
Right.
With everybody sitting there to hear their names announced as the most valuable swimmer in terms of points and then the most dynamic swimmer in terms of meet performances. To think Bates had both of those in one meet and has never done that before in the history of the program is absolutely phenomenal. And I don't believe any coach has won men's coach of the year before. We've won women's coach, but not the men's meet. So it was such a moment. Back to Max, though, the guy is incredible. He has been focusing so hard on the 50, and much to the dismissal of the 100 free and the 100 fly. But he's always had this belief that as 50 free gets better, everything will take care of itself, that he can handle the hundreds, and he's doing enough training to get through those 45 or less seconds. And he's right. I mean, we're in the right zone training all the time. And so you take somebody that has his confidence, his belief, and his talent, and he can jump in and do 100 butterfly. We did joke the week leading in, hey, maybe you want to practice a turn. Hey, maybe you want to do a couple strokes of fly here and there just because it will help a little bit. And he's like, don't worry, coach, I got it. I've mastered it. And he literally was behind the blocks joking with his teammates about how to do a turn, right before the race went off. And I knew he was in a good place to have a good swims. So happy he set that school record. His 100 free was phenomenal. It was only hundredths off the national record, and we weren't peaking right now. We're waiting for nationals. Yeah. And his 50 free, lifetime best school record, NESCAC meet record, all that good stuff. You couldn't ask for more. Still, he's still thinking 19 threes in there, and we're gonna chase after that and continue to try to allow that to happen. If he can let loose and flow, it's gonna be there for sure. It's such a hard race though to not try so hard to do perfect in. So it's that balance of trying versus letting it happen. And I couldn't be more proud of him and what he's done for us on relays and where he's seated nationally and the impact he's made for us on so many levels.
This is a weird question, but did he kind of take it easy in the 100 free prelim? Because it was 2 seconds difference between that and the final.
So we found out, at 10 o'clock on Saturday night that the meet was going to move from 10 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then the afternoon session, instead of being at 5:30, was going to start at 2. And so losing those 3 hours, plus we were in Augusta driving a half an hour up and having to wake up really early. After setting a national record the night before and the excitement and the energy and the enthusiasm, I don't think he was trying less hard at all. I just think it was a big ask to come and do that. And there was a part of him that was like, listen, I just have to finish first or second in this race. I don't have to go crazy fast. And if I get first or second in the morning, I will make sure I'm top 8. And if I'm top 8, I can win it in the second one. So I think he was managing that swim. But I'll tell you what, anytime you go that fast and you're swimming 100 yards of freestyle, it's exhausting. And I'm just really proud that he took advantage of the break and then came back and popped off a time that he told me he wasn't even expecting to go that fast. So it was just phenomenal. He snuck in there. We joked because 4 years ago, Nate Berry got 8th in the morning with a swim that was really difficult and tiring. And then he won it at night from lane 8 and continued his streak of great swims. And we just said, just finish in the top 8 and we'll be fine. And he did that. And it happened. And he got his second victory of the meet individually.
Yeah. It's funny, talking to, some of the other swimmers. I'm sure it's motivating. Noah Katz breaks the 50 breast record, in the heat, and then 23.87 seconds later, it's Marrich's record, and then Nate Oppenheim's like, Max, you got to go in and lower the 100 butterfly record again because I want that record. It's got to be motivational for these younger guys, right?
It is, and they kind of I think Noah knew the scenario with Marrich in the next heat that was his moment, and he went for it, and to see him be aware of that and perform under that type of pressure and desire is such a great sign for next year when Marrich is gone. To know that we have the second fastest ever in school history, ready to be inserted right into that national level relay. And I think he's just more inspired than ever. In terms of Nate, I remember standing next to Nate, and at one point this year, him saying, there's no way that if Max and I are even on the last 25, he can beat me. I'm going to take him. And then watching Max swim in that first heat, he went, wait, how come Max knows how to close? Why is he so fast on the second 50? What is going on here? And I think, I think it got in his head a little bit, like, what is happening? This was mine. I'm the 100 flyer on the team. But it also is inspiring to know that, speed is speed. And if you swim the right race, you can do it. And, it's really great. And it's nice to have that kind of camaraderie on the team and those guys pushing each other. So it's not just one guy doing it. We had 2 in the top 8. And that's a huge statement.
Well, how about John Weigel also battling back from injury to break his own school record in the 200 free twice, I think, right?
John is one of the craziest success stories as you could ever ask for, and it's just another layer of what this team went through this season and through the course of that meet. I mean, less than 10 days prior to the meet, he dislocated his shoulder and wasn't sure if he was going to be cleared to swim. And with some great work with the sports meds training staff, and doctors, we realized, okay, we can build the shoulder back, strengthen everything around it, and then be really smart at the meet. And so we ended up taking him out of individual events like the 50 free and the 100 free, just to stop the amount of reps that his shoulder was going to have to go through, with the caveat of, hey, John, you're going to lead off the 8 free relay. You're going to get 2 shots at the 200 free. Individually, which is a lot less, of a impactful movement on the shoulder because it's not as much sprinting oriented as the other races, and will lead you off on the 4 free relay. So you have chances to get flat start times and NCAA cuts. And he mentally, I don't know how he did it, but he believed. He had a really great school record setting 200 free at the first night of the meet. A great split on the relay the next day, and then understood based on his first swim how to make that 200 free better, and he took care of it at night, and it looks like he's 13th in the country and going to get invited to the meet individually for his first time ever. And he went all lifetime bests, and we were very cautious and careful with him, but now we've got 3 more weeks together where we can still strengthen that shoulder, and if anything does happen, it's the end of the season, and it's much better than having it happen at NESCACs and then losing out on them at nationals. So all the props in the world to him and the training staff here, and to the coaches that helped, talk to him about how to best approach the meet and manage things. So just another amazing story.
And then can't forget about Liam, Nate, Ben, these guys, all huge contributors. Nate, after a year away, right? I mean, he spent a year abroad.
Yeah, Nate Pierce was at Dartmouth last year for the engineering.
Brought in New Hampshire. Okay.
Yeah, he did the 2-1-1-1 program, where he does 2 years here, 1 at Dartmouth, 1 back here, and then he goes to Dartmouth to get his degree, his master's degree in engineering. So after a year away, he came back, and Nate went lifetime best in everything he swam: the 50 free, the 100 back, and the 100 free. And then he jumped in on our last relay when everybody was most tired, and he threw down his best split of his life to help that relay qualify for nationals and win the event. That was great. Liam's 200 butterfly was one of the most inspiring swims of the whole meet. I think he was in 7th place at one point on the front half of that race, and then came back on the third 50. And then he had what I think, if you look at the splits, the fastest last 50 of anybody in the field. Closed like a champion, and that's what you get with Liam. I mean, he trained 500. He used to swim the 1,000, but we really wanted to focus on getting him to the nationals with that 200 fly. And he got second, all NESCAC, school record by a second and a half, and He is right on that bubble right now, and our fingers are crossed that he's going to make it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then also Ben stepping into one of the relays, right?
Yeah, so Ben Wolking, this should be a nationally syndicated story here of just never stopping to believe. He gave a TED Talk at the beginning of the year called Daring to be Delusional. And it's because he's had 3 heart surgeries in the 3 years he's been here to fix whatever's going on in his heart that does not like to be going through what athletics is all about. And he's actually died on a pool deck before and been brought back through his pacemaker that he has in there. And he finally got the okay in December to really go for it with a lot of precautions in place that we have. And we have one of his buddies, Gavin Bavis, walking side by side with him every single practice as a lifeguard to make sure that if anything ever did happen, he was okay. And he just solely thought about the 50 free and the 50 fly for 7 weeks. And, and he was obviously working on this belief in himself for years. But his focus was really on getting healthy, surviving heart surgeries, and being here on Earth, celebrating another day in the life. And so to see him go a lifetime best, I think he was 21 high, and he brought it all the way down to 20.6 in the course of 6 meets, and then get on our relay, set the NESCAC record, be a NESCAC champion, and get another month of swimming, and now he's a national level athlete going to nationals. You could never write this up. It's a story for everybody in any world that needs inspiration. He no longer is in the journey. He's at the pinnacle of the mountain, and he accomplished his goals.
Wow. Well, Peter, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to mention? That's a pretty good way to finish, right?
Yeah, it was. There's so many great stories, and not just our national level guys and people that swam so well. And I know our 4 boys set the national record, but there was 26 other on this team that made that happen. And I couldn't be more proud of the team as a whole. And, we stand on the shoulders of so many guys that came before and believed in Bates swimming and performed tremendously and developed over their 4 years. I can just go through the list in my head of so many guys that helped us get to this point and have the ability to believe that something like this could happen. And you combine that with the guys on the team and our leaders, Marrich and Max, just never taking no for an answer. It was just a phenomenal experience, and I'm just so grateful to be at Bates College and have had this experience.
Nationals up next. Thanks so much.
You bet. Go Cats.
Women's basketball junior Sarah Hughes is the NESCAC Player of the Week for the second time this month after she scored a season-high 23 points Saturday in the NESCAC quarterfinal against Hamilton. She scored 20 of those points in the final 25 minutes as the Bobcats rallied from 20 points down at halftime to defeat the Continentals 67-64 in overtime at Alumni Gym. Bates travels to Brunswick to take on Amherst on the campus of Bowdoin College this Saturday at 4:30 in the NESCAC semifinals. And Sarah Hughes is our female Bobcat of the Week. Well, Sarah, you all gave us a little bit of a scare there on Saturday, the NESCAC quarterfinal. The team was down by 20 at halftime. That is a tough deficit to overcome. You go to the locker room at halftime. There's not a ton of time to kind of set things back up, but what was the main message from Coach Montgomery, and what was the main message among the players at halftime? What needed to happen to turn things around?
Yeah, we realized that people were doing things uncharacteristic of how we've been playing all season. Just because it's tourney time doesn't mean you need to start doing new stuff. Some of our turnovers were not like we've done all season. So we just kind of had to go back to our roots a little bit. And one of our game plans was to push in transition, and we had realized we had not done that all game. And then also our defensive focus. They got whatever they wanted in the first half, and so we had to shift that focus.
A lot of steals in the second half to lead those transition buckets. What was the key to breaking up some of those passes? They were trying to cut to the hoop, but you were able to break it up a little bit.
Yeah, they beat us a lot on backdoor cuts in the first half, and we made that adjustment. We focused on not getting beat on that, and I think a lot of our steals came off that, keeping our hands up and trying to beat them to the spot.
And how about the seniors, like Sophie and Ava stepping up? What was that like to see for you? Ava hit those threes that seemed to really spark the team, right?
Yeah, when they enter a flow like that, it is amazing to watch. Their presence is just undeniable, and it's really some senior stuff for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you, I mean, 23 points, most of those in the second half. I mean, you mentioned the transition buckets, but what else was maybe clicking offensively? What were you seeing out there that you were able to take advantage of?
I decided in the second half I was just going to play super instinctually. I realized in the first half I was kind of overthinking a lot of things, so I just looked at how the defender was guarding me and made the decisions in the moment and kind of just went off my instincts because that's what I do best.
Just look at the video. I mean, Elsa's setting a lot of great screens for you, right? That seems to open things up.
Yeah, no, 100%. Everyone did what they needed to do and made the right cuts and set everybody up for success. So, yeah.
And then inside a minute to go, you're down 5 after you'd taken the lead, but Hamilton fought back. You're down 5. You hit a 3 from the right wing. Take us through that play.
Yeah, we had actually practiced that exact play a lot in the past week. We put in a new end of shot clock or end of game 3-point play, and I think we ran it maybe 6 times in practice. So I just kind of got that footwork down, and when we ran it in the game, it was super easy for us.
Yeah, and one of those situations where when you release the ball, I mean, I had that good angle. I was like, this is going in for sure, right?
Yeah, no, same. It was one of those moments where I got it up, and I was like, it's good.
And then the game dying bucket was you set it up, you went to the hoop, laid it up, and Elsa was able to put it back. I mean, that's a situation where even if you miss, you have Elsa there. That's going to be nice, right?
Yeah, exactly. We ran that play for me to go middle, and I remember before we went out there, I was like, Elsa, make sure you roll, because obviously I wanted to make that left-handed layup. It was pretty open, and I should have. But yeah, Elsa down there making sure she boxes out Taylor Lambeau, grabs it for the putback with 3 girls on her. It was amazing. Yeah. Yeah,
quite the putback there. And then after you force overtime, you've been in a couple overtime games this year. Does overtime, it's 5 minutes, a little condensed. How does that change things, if at all, for the team? What's the message going to overtime?
Yeah, I mean, our message on the bench going into overtime was we have been here before. We've been through a lot of overtimes, like you just said. And we're a pretty fit and battle-tested team, and we could outrun them because everyone trains for 40 minutes of basketball, not 45. So, yeah.
Excellent. And then NESCAC semifinal coming up. You're at Bowdoin taking on Amherst this Saturday. You've been here before. 2 years ago, when you were first year, is a similar situation. You're going to Bowdoin for the semifinals and hopefully a championship game. I mean, what are your memories of 2 years ago, and what are you going to apply this year? Now, your second appearance in the NESCAC semis.
Yeah, I mean, those games my freshman year, they felt great, and I know that these next games are going to feel even better. That packed Bowdoin gym is amazing, and I love that feeling, and everyone shows up ready to play. And this weekend, we're really focusing on there's no time left, especially once playoffs start. All you have is the game in front of you, and you got to play the best you can, and we can't have lapses like we did that last game where we show up for the last 20 minutes.
And so for Amherst, a team you played at Alumni Gym during the regular season, led the whole time, ended up winning by, I think, 9. What kind of team are they? What do they bring to the table? What kind of challenges you have to be ready for this Saturday, you think?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Amherst is they kind of have someone that does a little bit of everything, their Mendel, number 13, is, I think, their leading scorer. But it should be a pretty good matchup. We're just going to have to, same thing, focus on defense. The offense will flow, and yeah, obviously we want to play personnel for Amherst, but let's show up as Bates.
And then it's a situation where obviously you play the second game, and so are you going to be watching much of the first game, or how's that going to go?
That's a great question. I think my freshman year we got to see kind of the first quarter or something of that game. Yeah. So we get to see the ambiance a little bit, which will be nice to kind of soak in for a little bit.
And then, it's a situation where obviously the team knows you're going to get an NCAA tournament bid, but obviously, especially for the seniors, they have not won the NESCAC. It's a goal, I'm sure, of the team. And so it's interesting. A conference tournament's interesting like that. I mean, what are your thoughts on, I'm sure one of the goals before the year was to win the conference, right? I mean, what are your thoughts on, trying to win this tournament before the next tournament, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, we want to take it day by day. So all we have is the game in front of us, and when we reach that championship game, that's all we're going to be thinking about. NCAA tournament will come when it comes. So.
Yeah, for sure. Look at the rebounding numbers. Elsa obviously leads the team in rebounding, but you are second on that team in rebounding this year at 5.3 rebounds per game. You're not the tallest player of all time, but you get a ton of rebounds. How does that happen? What are you seeing out there? Also offensively, because you had that putback on Sophie's miss as well. What are you seeing out there on the court that allows you to get those boards?
I think, when the ball releases out of someone's hands, I can usually read where it's going to hit on the rim and try and get that. But also, I mean, it is an effort thing, and I can make contact with my girl. I usually am a little bit stronger than them, so I can push them out of the way. But yeah, I mean, everyone holds their box outs, and then you just got to go chase it.
Yeah, certainly. And then I wanted to ask a little bit more about the defense because, I mean, it seems like you and Sophie are similar in terms of able to get a lot of steals, kind of coming in on help defense a little bit. Is that a big emphasis there? Because Sophie was talking about how in the postgame, I'm not the best on-ball defender, but I can help out and try to get some steals. Do you feel like that, kind of sort of helping out there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Soph takes the cake on that. That's all her charges, all of her digs on the post come off of that. For me, I mean, I try and play pretty fundamental. I'm not big on like swiping at the ball or like going for steals. I kind of think I just happen to get them because I like to position myself in the right place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think Soph takes the cake on that.
You're pretty good at sealing the inbounds passes, I've noticed.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
yeah.
sometimes on the sideline there, I've seen it a few times on the inbounds actually after a basket.
Yes, that is a good point. That is kind of a fun game I like to play where, I'll stand on their left side and then they want to pass to the right. So then I'll, get over to that other side, read where their eyes are going. Yeah.
NESCAC Player of the Week for the second time this month. How does that feel?
Oh, that feels great. I mean, especially, February is my birth month. So
there you go.
I'm feeling pretty good about this month. But yeah, I'm just really happy about the way that Bates has played this entire season, and I'm ready to keep it going.
Absolutely. Well, Sarah, thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast, our female Bobcat of the Week, NESCAC Player of the Week. Don't forget, it's a short trip to Brunswick. Everyone should make the trip this weekend. Saturday, 4:30 p.m., Bates versus Amherst, NESCAC semifinal, and then hopefully Sunday at noon in the championship game against either Williams or Bowdoin. I won't ask you about a preference there because that's a trick question, but thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The men's basketball team also dominated the second half of their NESCAC quarterfinal game on Saturday. The score stood tied at 25 at halftime before the fifth-seeded Bobcats pulled away for a 70-59 win at number 4 seed Amherst. Remarkably, it was the first win at Amherst for the Bates men's basketball team since 1991. Senior Peter Psyhogeos scored all 11 of his points in the second half and grabbed 9 rebounds in the win. So, Peter, obviously, the quarterfinal game at Amherst, tied at 25 at halftime, so a defensive battle. And then you all were able to score 45 points in the second half. In fact, you scored yourself all 11 of your points in that second half. What opened up offensively for the team in the final, 20 minutes there?
We knew going into the game it was going to be pretty low scoring, given the fact that they're such a good defensive team. We felt like we were getting pretty decent looks in the first half. We just weren't really hitting shots. And then in the second half, that kind of started to change on top of we started running in transition a little bit and getting a lot of offensive rebounds. So we were kind of getting more possessions and more shots. And then thankfully we started hitting them, which was good to see.
For you personally, 11 points in the second half in terms of what was opening up for you. What did you see out there?
Yeah, I think in the first half, I had some good looks that didn't go, which was obviously kind of frustrating. So at halftime, I was kind of hoping to just keep playing hard and keep trying to score the ball, taking the right shots. And then in the second half, I know Sean threw me a great pass for an open three. Babacar threw one for a layup. So I think teammates did a really good job finding me when I was open, and it kind of all clicked offensively for us, which was great. 9 rebounds for a guard. What was opening up right place, right time, or how'd that go, kind of? A little bit of the right place, right time. Coach really kind of emphasized all week rebounding was going to be really important in that game, particularly offensive rebounding. We knew it was going to be a defensive battle, so trying to limit their O boards and get as many as we could was kind of the goal, just to have more possessions. And when you're struggling to score, the best thing you can do is get more possessions. So kind of all week he was harping on particularly the guards because the bigs are always kind of down there fighting, so he wanted the guards to come in and clean those rebounds up.
And defensively, you guys held them to 26% shooting, obviously out-rebound them by a lot. Defensively, you're a guy who plays a lot of good defense. What was key to stopping them?
All week we did a lot of scouting on Amherst. It was kind of nice for us because we'd been playing Friday, Sunday all week, and we only had that one Saturday game this week, and we had a lot of time to really prepare for what they did offensively. So Coach Furbush and Coach Zach did a really good job preparing us for what actions they run, and we came to the game feeling pretty confident knowing like what they were looking to get on offense and how we could take that away. So I think overall as a team, we were really connected and did a good job executing that game plan.
Home court advantage is such a big thing in basketball. It seems like Amherst was 14-0 at home this year. You guys beat them there. What was that? What's that venue like? I've never been there. It looks like an interesting place.
Yeah, it's a really cool gym. It's kind of like wood all across the top going down. It's a fun place to play at. They had a really loud student section, probably the loudest one that wasn't at Bates I've seen all year, which was awesome to see. It's always fun to play there. And I think it's just they do a really good job when they're at home. Again, like there's no bus ride to get down there. We went down the night before, which was good, and you can't really do that when you have 2 games in a weekend. So it was valuable to be able to do that and definitely made it a little easier. But there's just something about like shooting on the same hoops you shoot on every day on your home court with your home fans. So it's definitely tougher to win on the road, but it feels a little better to get one in someone else's gym.
Did you guys feed off their student section a little bit, it seemed like?
I think a little bit, definitely. There was a moment where like their fans were really loud and then our parents/fans kind of like matched their volume, which was really cool to see. I think it was like down the stretch in the second half. So that was kind of a funny moment and awesome for us to see. Like, even though it was a road game, we still had people there to support us and they were just as loud.
What was the celebration like maybe in the locker room after the victory?
We threw water all over Coach, which was fun.
And then you got Wesleyan this upcoming weekend at Wesleyan in the NESCAC semifinal. First berth in the NESCAC semifinal for the Bobcats since 2012. I mean, you played the Cardinals during the regular season at their place, so you've seen them. What challenges do they bring to the table?
Yeah, they're a really good offensive team. Obviously, a lot of experience. They went to the Final Four last year. We're the number 1 team in the country for a lot of the season, so they've kind of been one of the top teams in the NESCAC throughout my time here. They run really good actions on offense and play hard defensively, so it'll be a different scout, but again, hoping we can come in prepared and get the job done.
Do you think there were valuable lessons learned in the first time around playing them this season?
Yeah, definitely. It's always like interesting to play a team, and it's funny because like we play Bowdoin and Colby twice a year, one time non-conference first, so it's a little bit like that. And I feel like the first time you play a team, you learn so much about them that like it's different in person, seeing it and actually playing against them versus watching it on film or reading the scout. So I think you definitely learn a lot just about like specific players, and like they played faster than I was maybe expecting the first time. They looked to push it and transition more so than I had maybe realized. So it was good to kind of learn that lesson the first time.
So this will be a somewhat up-tempo game because you guys like to push it if possible, right?
Yeah. I think it'll probably be pretty fast. We'll see, but that would be my guess.
A little different from Amherst, right?
Mm-hmm. Amherst, they slow it down quite a bit, so I think this one will be probably faster, but we're going to obviously do what we can to limit their transition.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the very balanced scoring. It looked. I mean, 14 for Brady, 12 for Babacar, 11 for O'Leary, 11 for yourself, 9 for Decker. So it seems like everyone was chipping in a little bit. I mean, that's probably the key to victory, right? Is like spreading it around like that, right?
Definitely. I mean, everyone kind of chipped in and played their role. Cole was huge in the first half. 9 points kind of kept us afloat because we were really struggling to score. Babacar gets doubled a lot in these NESCAC games, so when he's doubled, like he still had a solid game despite being double teamed, and then he kind of opens it up for everyone else when he's seeing 2 defenders. So when that happens, like we all kind of need to chip in and help out with the scoring, and that's like I think a very effective way to win when you have so many guys in double digits. It's just a lot harder to guard than one guy scoring 25 or 30.
Well, we talked about the guards rebounding. How about 8 rebounds for the 5'11" Chris Bianco? That's pretty impressive.
That was awesome, yeah.
And what's it like having a first year be able to come off the bench and run the offense like that he does at point guard, right?
It's been really impressive. I think getting some of that experience in soccer too, playing such a big role, and then coming into these NESCAC games and really stepping up with Keenan's injury has been super valuable for us. And like he had a couple huge offensive rebounds, and he had one for a putback layup like down the stretch at a crucial point in the game. So it's been really helpful to have him come off the bench and kind of be a spark. And then Jamari as well. He's done that all year and been great for us off the bench.
Yeah, certainly. And Jamari had some big games against Wesleyan and Trinity
Mm-hmm.
last time around, and you might be playing Wesleyan and Trinity again. We'll see. But it should be an exciting weekend down there. I mean, for you, first bid in the NESCAC semifinals and the season, you're a very good shot at that large NCAA tournament bid. So as a senior, I mean, how gratifying is this? Has this been the kind of the best you could have possibly imagined the senior season kind of going?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, haven't really seen a ton of success in prior years, so it's been great to, as a senior, have more success in the program, and kind of it's been building for a while, so it's been good to see some of that come to fruition and hopefully, make a run in the NESCAC and the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely. Well, any other thoughts you wanted to mention about this win over Amherst? Anything else you wanted to talk about that we haven't gone to discuss yet?
It was a great win for us. I think we came in and did a great job, executing what the goal was, and we were up at halftime the first time we played
Right.
Amherst, and it was tied at halftime. So the big thing for us was keep our foot on the gas in the second half and play a complete 40 minutes of basketball, which is something that has been a major point of emphasis for us all year, just because we'll have great spurts and then maybe a 2-minute segment that isn't the best. So we were trying to play a full complete 40 minutes, which I felt like we were able to do, which was awesome.
Great. Yeah, the Bobcats are 18-7. They are at Wesleyan at 2:00 this Saturday for the NESCAC semifinal. A win over Wesleyan would mean an appearance in the NESCAC championship game, which is set for this Sunday at noon, which will also be at Wesleyan. Hopefully, we'll see the Bobcats in that as well. Peter Psyhogeos, 11 points, all of them in the second half as the Bobcats pull away for the victory. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Aaron.
With both basketball teams advancing to the NESCAC semifinals in the same season for the first time since 2010, it's an exciting time to be a Bobcat. Plus, spring sports have arrived. The men's lacrosse team won both their games last week, prevailing 14-13 on the road at Union and 15-6 at Kane. Junior Miles Schmidt once again dominated in the face-off circle, winning just over 61% of his opportunities, and he was named to the New England Intercollegiate Lacrosse Association Division III Team of the Week. What were you kind of expecting going in? I mean, is it weird kind of playing these teams who you really aren't that familiar with, I suppose, right?
Yes, I mean, at least with Union specifically, we had Kieran McGovern, who was one of our assistants from freshman year. He graduated of Union, was on that national championship squad in, I think, 2019 for Union. So had a little bit of beef going in. Obviously love him, but we had an interesting challenge ahead of us. I think we hadn't really played many teams from that conference, and obviously Union being a very competitive team historically was definitely a challenge and a big opportunity for us to open up the season. So glad we were able to pull out that one. Definitely not, I think we had a few struggles. Obviously the first game, you got to narrow everything out, but I think we did a great job responding to adversity, coming back in the fourth and finishing strong, and Keene as well, I think, struggled in the first half, and then we're able to figure it out, just working out those kinks. But I think we got a lot of studs this year, a lot of great freshmen, and some good coaching that's really been pushing us towards a good goal that we have for ourselves. So definitely happy with our results, but, not satisfied.
I think for you, I think in the Union game, obviously it was a very close game. I think in terms of the face-offs, I think maybe a slow start for you, and then you made some adjustments. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so, I mean, struggled a little bit in the first, figured it out, I think, towards the second. They brought out the double pull, which is definitely a little bit more of a challenge when it comes to the face-offs, and then had an absolutely atrocious third quarter. I don't think I won a single one. We were hearing it from the football team behind us every time I'd walk off the field, hearing, hey, 48, you haven't won one since I've been here. And it's like, all right, well, I don't need to hear this right now. But, throw that to the back of the head, and we were able to respond very well as a team come the fourth quarter and show up when it really mattered.
Is it more of a mental adjustment, or what kind of adjustments did you make maybe third to fourth quarter?
I think it was just doing a good job of getting our first time ground balls. I think we had a few that we were struggling with earlier in the game that led to a few possessions not coming up our way. But then also, I think you have a good bag of counters and clamps and everything else that you're able to mix up. And, I like to consider myself a flow-based player. Like, I got out of a little bit of rhythm, and, you just got to find it, get back into it, and respond to whatever you're faced with.
And I noticed at the end, I think it was told and picked up a penalty.
Yeah.
So poor senior Drew Nias has to come in off the bench, not give much a chance to warm up even. And what was that like? I mean, holding on there at the end, right?
It was very stressful for sure. I won that last face-off and was like, oh, this is over. Let's go.
Yeah.
We got this in the bag. And then, unfortunate turnover, ball's back on the other end. Now there's a penalty, and we're like, oh my God, how did we get here? But, great job by Drew Nyes stepping in, stepping up. And I think Tolan made the right play. Had to come out, stop a guy right on the crease. And, sometimes you gotta choose a lesser of two evils. And we were able to pull that out, luckily. And I'm glad we were able to finish strong. So.
And the next game, a 15-6 win. I mean, that's a pretty dominant victory. Tell me a little bit about, you said maybe we weren't totally satisfied with that game, but the final score indicates, a pretty solid win there.
Yeah. I think we struggled in the first half. I think we were going into the halftime at like 6-4, which was, not our expectation. I think we came in with a different, we thought we were just going to come in there and steamroll a team. And, those Keene guys are gritty and they're hard-nosed, and they were able to keep us on our toes for the first bit. And so coming out of half, we were able to get in a nice rhythm and win a few faceoffs in a row, make it, take it, which is my favorite type of ball there. And so we were able to, get a good flow going and carry that out the rest of the game.
All right, well, you're staying on the road.
Yep.
You're at Wesleyan
Yep.
This Saturday. Obviously, last year you played Wesleyan twice, right? A very
Yes.
close regular season game, also playing the conference tournament. So you're very familiar with this team.
Mm-hmm.
They're a very talented team. We know that every NESCAC team is, but what's the key to beating Wesleyan, you think?
I think, they lose a lot of big seniors. They had, I think, 2, 3 fifth years last year, which were all some of their top producers. One of them had like a PLO tryout. So
oh, wow.
a lot of studs offensively that they graduate. But, I think really just going in with our mindset of being ready to adapt to anything. I think, they don't have anything on film. They'll be able to see our first two games. So I think not exactly sure what to expect from them, but I think if we're able to play our game and capitalize on our opportunities and, do well in the middle third and our defense is able to, narrow out some kinks, I think our offense has been dialed this year. We have some great freshmen who have been able to contribute and some guys who have really been stepping into their roles. So very, very excited to be able to have an opportunity to compete against a really talented team in Wesleyan.
That's interesting because it could be an advantage. It could be a disadvantage, right? You've played 2 games. The team knows what a game feels like. The first years know what a game feels like. But Wesleyan has tape on you. But Wesleyan hasn't played any games. Who do you think has the advantage there?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I do think, at least for us specifically, I think we will have maybe a half step up, I think, with us having a few freshmen mixed in the rotation. And I think guys who maybe haven't played as much before as well, like the game experience is truly what makes the difference, at least what I've noticed from playing the past 2 years. Like now being in my third year as a faceoff guy, like everything just seems to slow down. And once you kind of get those jitters out, like those first game jitters are real. We definitely felt them against Union and across the board, like being able to just, settle into your schemes and your offense and your defense. I think we'll be able to be a little bit better at that. But also, I mean, you have a very disciplined and talented and well-coached team in Wesleyan, so you never really know for sure.
Yeah, certainly. Well, tell me a little bit about, you're a junior, as you mentioned, and last year obviously was a very solid year for the program. I mean, it was a kind of a breakthrough season for Coach Anino. It's, winning record, a NESCAC tournament appearance. Hungry for more, though, right? Coach said, the guys, you included, came out of last year looking for more. What are you hungry for more this year? What's kind of some goals you have in your mind?
I think we had our leadership summit towards the end of our off season, and I think collectively the one thing that we have in all of our minds is a national championship, and I think that's obviously a very lofty goal, and it takes a lot to get there, but we definitely have our most talented roster over the past 2-3 years that I've been here, and I think having our sights set very high is the standard that we want to set for ourselves, and so, obviously it takes a lot to get there, and we haven't even gotten into NESCAC play yet, but I think, just one game at a time and being able to prove not only to the rest of the league, but also to ourselves that, like, we are that team who says they want to compete for a national championship. And I think, earning that day in and day out is how we're going to achieve that.
Tell me a little bit about the face-off group. I mean, it's not just you, right? Some other guys, including a first year, got some playing time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of studs in there. This is our first year having a full group. It's been, just kind of getting through our recruiting cycles, and now we have the first year having 4 guys in that unit. And I think you have Finn Gibbons, Graham Ray, and Ryan Chung. Ryan Chung is the first year he's been playing. He's been doing awesome. He's stud, super fast hands, and really explosive as a lacrosse player, has great stick skills and can really snipe. And I think you have Graham Ray as well, who's really been taking a step forward. His counters and his game has been awesome. And Finn's a guy who just brings it in and mixes it all up with those quick hands. So I think our competition as a unit has really pushed me and has pushed, I think, everyone to really take another step forward, which has been awesome because, raising that compete level across the board just makes everyone better and makes that unit a lot more effective in game as well.
And folks, I apologize. We're both from Seattle, so I'm going to ask a Seattle question. Last time we talked, you mentioned it. You're coaching, right, in the offseason, kind of in Seattle. Tell me a little about how that went this past offseason.
So it was awesome. This was like, I'd say, the biggest step forward for my personal coaching as well. I was able to run some Miles Schmidt face-off clinics and be able to help out a lot in the face-off community specifically and on a more broader scale in the Washington community. So very grateful to have that opportunity. I think at least specific to face-offs, it being such a technical position, there's not a lot of people who can coach it and then also coach it effectively. And I think I've been able to get some experience and be able to help out a large degree of people who are interested in the position. And now we have a lot of people. My younger brother just made his college debut like two weeks ago. He's also a face-off guy that I've been, kind of taking under my wing. I won't take all the credit for that because obviously he's a stud, but we have some other guys from the area as well. Another guy, Dawson Loudermilk, who's also now starting for Concordia University or Irvine, which is a D2 program in California. And, we're now seeing a lot of those guys have success at the college level. So it's really cool to see that effort that I'm putting in now paying out in very real ways for guys who are coming to the next level.
Where's your brother playing?
Roanoke College, so another D3.
Oh, another D3.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We're going to try to get him on the schedule next year or something?
I would love to make that happen. I'm not going to say he's better than me, but he definitely has a few tricks up his sleeve when it comes to competing with me. But he's a stud. Really excited to see how he does this season. He's done pretty good in his first 2 games, so excited to see what he can do.
So I graduated high school in 2006, and when I was in high school, lacrosse, I don't know if I'd even heard of the sport in Seattle. How's it growing now?
It is exploded.
Yeah.
I think especially in the last 3 to 4 years, a lot of the stuff that when I was growing up, you're now seeing all of these services and programs and club teams now really competing on the national level, which has been great to see. And it's been great to be able to, have a small part in pushing that forward as well. I think, having guys who go and play in college and are able to come back and give that knowledge back to that community, I think has made the biggest difference. Like through Cityside and Stars, you have like 2 really great club programs with great leaders who I've grown very close personal relationships with, who have definitely done a really, really effective job at cultivating the sport as a whole. And I think the general interest as well is definitely increased. I think there's a lot more people who are playing and which is awesome. And then now they have the services and facilities to be able to, take that to the highest extent.
And fun to have a lot of them here, right here at Bates as your teammates,
yes,
right?
It is. Jacob Kajababy and Liam Rule, and then Jake Johnson and Henry Brunix over the past few years. So a lot of Seattle connections here, which is awesome. And, I'm not telling Coach to recruit some more Seattle guys, but you should probably take a look. We got some studs, but, no guarantees.
Excellent. Well, looking forward, what's the biggest key to success this year in your mind to get to that point where you're competing for a national championship? What are some next steps the team is hoping to take, these next few weeks, starting with, Wesleyan Saturday?
Yeah, I think it definitely comes down to sticking to our principles and being very disciplined. I think, having a team that's still kind of settling into its starting lineups. We've had a lot of changes within the people who are playing and the defensive schemes and guys on offense. So it's, I think, about finding our identity and really buying into that. And I think through that, we'll be able to be very effective. Obviously, it comes back down to, being very hard-nosed and having that same sort of edge that we've had these past 2 years being an underdog. I think we're now kind of taking that step into being a more formidable team in the NESCAC and more nationally, but, keeping that same mindset that we had that pushed us to some of those really gritty, close, and sometimes dominant wins that we had last year as well.
Excellent. Looking forward not only to Wesleyan this Saturday, a road game, but also the home opener, folks, is a week from today's a Tuesday, so a week from today against Emerson, 7 o'clock at Garcelon Field. Miles Schmidt, NEILA D3 Team of the Week. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Aaron. I really appreciate it.
The women's lacrosse team traveled to California for the first 2 games of their season, and the Bobcats split a pair of contests, falling 19-15 at Claremont Mud Scripps before bouncing back to beat Redlands 19-8. Junior Laci Raveis had a huge game against Redlands, matching her career high with 7 goals, and she has a team leading 14 points through 2 games. All right, Laci, well, 2 kind of different games for you personally, at least, out in California. The first game against Claremont, 1 goal, 5 assists. Next game, 7 goals, 1 assist. So take us through kind of what you're seeing on offense, what was opening up for you from a passing perspective and also from, a shooting perspective the next game.
Yeah, well, every single team that we play is different and everyone runs a different defense. So I think it was just based upon what was open at the time, and we were all just working together to try to see what, like, the open lanes and the open cutters. And then there were sometimes that I was open cutters, sometimes that my teammates were the open cutters. So it was kind of just like running our offense, seeing what was open, and kind of adjusting ourselves to the defense that we were playing.
7 goals, matching your career high there against Redlands. I know some free position opportunities too. What's the biggest key to scoring on a free position? Because that's such a unique, like, lacrosse thing. You know, there's no other sport that has like a free position type situation. There's penalty kicks in soccer, but not really the same thing. So tell us about free positions and the key to it.
Yeah, so they actually changed a lot this year.
Okay.
We used to have every single hash on the 8 meter, but now they only changed it to 2 hashes. So that's honestly a big advantage as an attacker. You really get to practice that 1 or 2, both hashes that you think you'll be put on more. But it's really just kind of depending on how you play as a player. Personally, I like to run it in. There are some of my other teammates who like to do a power shot. And then also, depending on the goalie, our coaches do a really good job scouting goalies. So if we know the goalie is really good at defending a power shot, then maybe we'll try to run it in, or if vice versa. And then also just knowing the defense that you're against. So if you think you have a really quick step against the defense that you're playing, so maybe you'll take it in. But if you also think that, oh, maybe this might not end up in the back of the net, we can always pass it out and try to get the 1v2 opportunity on the other side.
Yeah, I saw that. The power shot, I think it was Emma Laval?
Yeah.
She had a power shot goal, right? Yeah. What you prefer running it in, but what's the key to a good power shot? Because I haven't seen that actually a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say it's really I think it's personally a preference.
Yeah.
But just practice, honestly, for anything that you do, practice is always going to help. But figuring out if you like to step down, if you like to take a couple steps, if you don't step at all, or anything like that, that is just something that it's more of a preference.
Chance to go to California to start the year for the first time in a while for the women's lacrosse team. I know it's the first time since you've been at Bates. So what was the trip like?
It was awesome. It was really nice to be able to be in shorts and a T-shirt so quickly into the season. But it's great because something about Bates actually is that our spring break is in February. So it's a lot earlier than any of the other NESCACs. So we give the opportunity to play some really formidable competitors outside of our league before we start NESCAC play. So it's kind of an advantage, I think, to us because we have now 2 games under our belt before we go and play Wesleyan this weekend, whereas they haven't played any games. So it's really nice to be able to just work out the kinks, and you can't complain when you're playing in 50-degree weather under the sun. So,
well, I was going to say you had one night game and then one game at 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it like playing that early?
Our coaches did a really good job about keeping us on the time zone. So our first game was at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So we had a couple days before in the trip to be able to adjust to that time zone. And sometimes we have night games after classes here, so it wasn't too different. And then our second game against Redlands was at 10 a.m. and it was Friday morning. So we kind of had the time to try to adjust ourselves back to Eastern time. So in reality, it was 1 o'clock here. So honestly, I didn't think it was that big of a jump because the coaches did a really good job of making sure our schedule was around our game times and making sure that we were going to be able to perform our best as a team.
Well, speaking of the coaches, it's the second year for Princess Zabel. Coach P, I mean, you're a junior, but what's it like, having had her for one season and now year 2, sort of?
I think it's awesome. Obviously, last year, Coach P just came in at the beginning of the season, and we all did our best to kind of make the season run as smoothly as possible. But I think there's so much value in having 1 year under your belt and then also having the entire fall to be able to prepare for season and understand your players, and then us understand Coach P as a coach more. So I think just the communication overall, and then just the chemistry between the coaching staff and the players is just that much better. Not that it was ever anything different, but.
Sure, and then we enter the gauntlet starting this Saturday, right? NESCAC play.
Yeah.
Wesleyan ranked 5th in the country. Noon start there at Garcelon Field. It is the home opener for the Bobcats. I mean, how exciting is it to get back into conference play here?
I'm super excited. I love the NESCAC. It's the reason why I would say all of us play at Bates is just because the high academic and high play that we have here. So it's just really cool to be able to play top-ranked opponents and just have that.
And you have a lot of theme games and everything, right? So tell me a little bit about some of the causes the team is playing for.
Yeah, so our team splits up into families when you are a freshman. So you're put into a specific family. I am in charge of the Dempsey Challenge, which we run in the fall. And then there are a bunch of other families, the One Love family, the LGBTQ plus family, Morgan's message, and then a couple others. So everyone's in charge of their own kind of community service, or we're going to dedicate a game, or just trying to get the team involved in as much as we can be while we're here. So it's just really cool opportunity to be able to dedicate a game to One Love this weekend, and then next week I think we're doing LGBTQ plus and so on. So it's just really cool to learn more about a variety of topics that one family has really been immersed in, and they just get to share it with the whole team.
Well, you mentioned Dempsey's Challenge. So how'd that go this fall?
I was abroad,
Yeah.
so I didn't run it with the team.
Right.
But the team, it's a tradition every single year, and it's always so much fun to be able to run together. And, I mean, it's always a low-stakes opportunity, and I think we won fundraising this year as well. So the team got to meet Patrick Dempsey, which is always a plus. But it's really fun, and it's a really great cause that we get to support.
Well, tell us about your study abroad experience.
It was amazing. I went to Copenhagen, and I was actually abroad with a lot of other NESCAC lacrosse players. So I think now I know someone from every single NESCAC team, which is really cool. And we were just able to play together and just like kind of share our experiences of playing in the NESCAC and just being on different teams, which is really cool. So I'll be able to see them this coming season, which is awesome.
So you were able to get some lacrosse played
Yeah,
in
it's definitely very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a league over there
Okay.
that some NESCAC players joined, and then just kind of I went abroad with one of my teammates, Laci, as well. So we were able to connect a little bit, and just trying to keep the stick in your hand and your fitness up is really the most important thing, obviously, because you want to be able to experience abroad and have like the once in a lifetime experience there as well.
Yeah, certainly. So did you then have the NESCAC players who were abroad with you as teammates, basically?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And like teammates and best friends. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to be able to now play against them this spring.
Excellent. Well, any other thoughts you wanted to share on the opening trip out to California and maybe goals for this season we haven't got to talk about yet?
Yeah, well, our team is really one aspect that's really important to our team this year is we over me. That's kind of the slogan that we live by. So every single goal that's scored, every single caused turnover, everything that happens in a game is due to so many different people. Every single person has a role in the team. When you're in practice, whether you're a starter, whether you don't get a lot of minutes, you are working so hard to make every single person better on the team, which ultimately is what leads to us either winning or anything like that. So it's just something that's really important and is definitely a driving motto, I would say, on our team this year, which just keeps the vibes up.
Outstanding. Laci Raveis, 7 goals against Redlands and 5 assists against CMS. The Bobcats are home this Saturday against Wesleyan at noon. It's going to be a great day of Bates Athletics. You can go to the women's lacrosse game at Garceland Field at noon,
Yeah.
and then you can go to Brunswick to watch the women's basketball team at 4:30. Should be a great day of Bates sports. Laci, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The baseball team took 2 out of 3 from St. Lawrence over the weekend, hitting an impressive .345 with a .994 OPS as a team over the course of the 3 games. Senior Gibby Sullivan went 6 for 10 at the plate with 7 runs batted in to lead the way. Well, Gibby, a great start, especially for the offense down there in Delaware against St. Lawrence, neutral site field. You personally, 2 hits each game. Tell me a little bit about what was clicking like early in the year. I know it can be tough sometimes on hitters in this colder weather, but it seems like it was pretty nice conditions down there.
Yeah, it was like 45 and sunny, so it's nicer than it's been here. Just got out to a good start. I feel like once you get the first hit, then the rest keep coming. So like starting the year 2 for 4 was huge.
Yeah, 2 for 4 with a double in that first game. A couple extra base hits for you as well. Also, I saw a triple. Take us through the triple.
I haven't hit many triples in my career, but I just caught a ball out front, and it was like 410 feet to center, so there's a lot of room to work with. So that's probably the biggest reason. And I think the center fielder like fumbled it a little bit too.
Well, we'll take the triple. It was your 3rd career triple there. You had 2 as a sophomore. But in general, the offense seemed to be clicking. Tell me a little bit about this group. The lineup seems like it's pretty strong this year.
Yeah, this is the best lineup I've had definitely since my freshman year. We hit the ball hard. I think that's the biggest thing. David Swift, obviously. Brady hit a home run. He hits the ball really hard. Keegan, Margie, a lot of guys just we've been in the gym more than we have in the past. We're probably the biggest team we've had. So like just hitting the ball hard is the biggest thing. And you don't see it on the stat sheet, but we lined out a lot too. So that, and then just we limited strikeouts, which has been an issue in the past as well.
And John mentioned that in a preseason interview, how the team's really been working a lot in the weight room. Tell me a little bit about the strength and conditioning efforts the team has been, undergoing, I guess.
Yeah, we've been we did 3 lifts a week in the fall with Kaylee, who's great. That's probably the biggest difference since I got here was like everyone does the same lift. It's a great program, and you can see it. we all got bigger this fall. That shows up on the field, hitting the ball hard. That's like, if you can just hit the ball hard, you're going to get more hits. Stuff will get through. It's just how baseball works.
Yeah, certainly. Well, the game that impressed me was the rubber match of the 3-game series, game 2 of the doubleheader there on Saturday, because you guys fell behind in that game. I think it was like 6-1 or something, and you were able to rally and win 13-6. So, I mean, you're down by a little bit, but obviously a lot of confidence in this team. What were your thoughts kind of when you were down by a few runs and able to come back there?
Well, I think that definitely felt like some of our series in years past, where we just kind of got the first game, lost the second one in a close one, and then got out to an early deficit and just couldn't come back. So it felt great to like kind of flip the switch there. I mean, that was just sparked by Brady hitting a bomb. I mean, that's usually how it goes. Like once that, I mean, we were down 6-4 after the third, and we had all the momentum. And then the floodgates opened. Yeah. We got a lot of pitches to hit, and we got to their bullpen, and we got their start out of the game, and then we killed them.
Yeah, well, first year, Brady Thompson, a designated hitter, and also a pitcher for the Bobcats, but a lefty bat, and you mentioned it. We put it on Instagram already, the home run. It looked like it might have gone over the scoreboard. I mean, that must have just fired everyone up. Take me through your perspective on that long ball. It was the only home run the Bobcats hit. Obviously, a lot of hard-hit balls, big ballpark, but that was a blast.
Yeah, that was sweet. I don't think he even got it, to be honest. But yeah, that was awesome. That's what we need. If you look at like the best teams in the country, they hit a lot of extra base hits, a lot of home runs, and we have the ability to do that this year with the middle of our lineup.
Yeah, certainly. And you're making a little bit of a transition. You, at least in this first series, you played out there in left field a bit. Tell me about that adjustment, going from shortstop to left field. A little bit different, right?
Yeah, a lot different. I'm kind of a utility guy.
Yeah.
That's what coach has always told me. So I'm pretty much prepared to look at the lineup sheet and be anywhere. I think I've played every position besides center field and catcher in my time at Bates.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and I played basically the whole season at left my sophomore year, so I was pretty familiar. But I didn't take a fly ball in practice before game 1. So it was a little funny. I mean, I lost one in the first game, so it was a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm fine out there.
So it's a return to left field.
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, and what do you play in high school generally? All over also?
I played first base.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got recruited at first base.
Gotcha.
Which is funny because David is our first baseman, and he's really good over there, and he DH'd in high school, and he played third after me. So I played first for 2 years in high school. He never played first, and now he plays first at Bates, and I play everywhere but first.
Yeah, you and David switched high school teammates for a couple years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's that like going from high school teammates to now college teammates? Were you excited when you found out you're coming to Bates?
Yeah, it was awesome. I played like Little League All-Stars with David. He's the man, and he always said like he didn't want to go to Bates because he didn't want to stay close to home, and then I kind of always knew that he might just end up here, and then it was awesome, and he's a huge piece to our team.
Yeah, he plays a great first base.
He does, yeah. That's more important than people realize. I think people like kind of poo-poo first baseman as kind of just like hitters that don't play defense, but having a really good first baseman's huge for the infield, especially. Like I bounced 10 throws last year that got picked by him. Yeah,
so that's absolutely a great thing to have, certainly. And any other observations kind of you had from the first week? I mean, it's only 3 games, but anything else you kind of noticed about the team that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think our offense definitely stepped up from last year, but the biggest thing is I don't think our pitching is even broken out yet, and that's going to be the best facet of our game, I think. John Tully is awesome. He just fills it up. You blink, and he's throwing 5 innings shutout. Diego obviously is really good. He'll be good all year. And then Theo Zachariah had a great. I mean, he was probably the biggest reason we won that game. Just shifted the momentum completely. He's really good. He's not like the flashiest pitcher. He doesn't throw the hardest, but he just fills up strikes. He's super accurate. And I think really because if you look at our staff, we have Diego, John, and then Charlie Carriello, Charlie Bushley, Ezra, Nolan Hobbs, Kenny, a lot of pretty similar big righties that throw pretty hard. And so having a kid like Theo, just a lefty that is a different look, especially like they had seen Diego and Charlie that day, and then they have to go face a lefty doing something completely different, is really big for us because I think that's something that we really haven't had in the past, is just like a reliable kind of different look. And I think that will unlock us a little bit. Yeah, he tossed 4 shutout innings, so it seemed like St. Lawrence was just off balance against him. Yeah, he was just throwing his slider for strikes. Yeah. They were just waving out in front. I think when you face 90 for 7 innings and then you go face Theo, it's going to be difficult. So
Yeah, and we got a trip out to Annandale on the Hudson, New York there for a couple games against Vassar, and then Bard is where you're actually going, and Vassar's on a neutral field. But Bard last year, I think that was one, like a super long extra inning game, right? What are your memories of that?
I think 2 straight years we've swept them in game 3 in like the 12th inning.
Yeah.
So hopefully this year we just do it in the 9, in the 7 or 9, however many we play. But that we've had success against them in the past, so I'm excited to play them. We got a whole Liberty League lineup for the first 5 games, so hopefully we can come out 4-1.
Yeah, Coach Martin's former league there.
Yeah, this is a big game, 9 a.m. on Saturday, the return of Coach Martin against Vassar, and Coach Fuchs.
And then hopefully, knock on wood, a home game on March 8th, right? What do you think the chances are?
Well, I don't know if we're getting more snow this week, but not getting a lot of snow is huge for that. I mean, it just depends on the weather.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, we've had days where we could have played in past weeks, and I mean, if it's like today, we're not going to play that game. But I'm hopeful.
Excited for the trip to Florida coming up mid-March?
Oh yeah, that's the most fun trip of the year.
Yeah. What makes it so great?
Just spending time. I mean, just the weather.
Yeah,
honestly,
that helps.
The weather, and we stay in houses, and it's just fun to like turn your brain off and play baseball for a week.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I guess, great opening series, obviously. The offense, super impressive. Anything else you wanted to mention before we sign off here?
I'd just say that we got more guys that haven't even shown up yet that are ready to go. I mean, Ezra threw 2 batters, and he's one of the best guys we have. So I'd look out for him because he's really good.
But, yeah, he was hurt all last year. So.
Yeah, he tore his ACL, so a little comeback story, and he is a competitor. I mean, he will be – I trust him in big moments as much as anybody. So yeah.
Great. Gibby Sullivan, Bobcats off to a 2-1 start. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
This week is another big one for Bates Athletics. With the track and field teams competing at the New England Division III Indoor Championships in Boston, the squash teams heading to Philadelphia for the CSA Divisional Championships, and both basketball teams hoping to bring home a NESCAC title. Find the complete schedule of upcoming Bates Athletics events at GoBatesBobcats.com. And we'll catch you next time on the Bates Bobcast.